Just ahead on CTV News. U.S. Senate candidates Angela Alsobrooks and Larry Hogan are gearing up for the big debate tonight. But one candidate won't be there.
I'd love to say I'm surprised, but I'm really not surprised by the whole thing. It's a concerted effort by those in power to keep voices out.
And the state's attorney is bringing back the Purple Bike Ride this weekend. Those stories and more on CTV News, starting now.
Good evening. This is CTV News for October 10th. I'm Mariah Jalad.
And I'm Michaela Newton. Thanks so much for joining us. Now to our top story tonight. As Hurricane Milton devastated Florida, President Biden came out swinging, slamming former President Donald Trump for what he called an onslaught of lies about the federal response to Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton. Now, Biden accused Trump of spreading false claims that undermine the recovery efforts for the storms that devastated the Southeast, killing more than 230 people. Trump's accusations, including misinformation about FEMA aid and wild conspiracy theories, were labeled as beyond ridiculous by Biden.
Former President Trump has led this onslaught of lies. Assertions have been made that property is being confiscated. That's simply not true. They're saying people impacted by these storms will receive $750 in cash and no more. That is simply not true either. They're saying that money needed for these crises are being diverted to migrants. What the heck are they talking about? Stop it. It's outrageous. It's just not true. Now the claims are getting even more bizarre. Marjorie Taylor Greene, the congresswoman from Georgia, is now saying the federal government is literally controlling the weather. We're controlling the weather. It's beyond ridiculous. It's so stupid. It's got to stop.
This morning, President Biden spoke to Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, telling him that he will provide any support the state needs for response times and recovery efforts to Hurricane Milton.
Meantime, the only scheduled debate of the Maryland Senate election with national implications goes down today. Democrat Angela Alsobrooks and Republican Larry Hogan will face off tonight on Maryland Public Television. Alsobrooks takes the stage, leading Hogan by 9 points in the polls. Even as the former Governor Hogan comes in with popularity and resources, he's at a disadvantage in the state where Democrats outnumber Republicans 2-1. The race has drawn national attention as it is one of a few competitions that may decide which party has the majority in the Senate next year. The debate airs at 7 tonight on MPT and NBC and at 8 on C-SPAN.
And Libertarian candidate for Senate Mike Scott is not happy about being excluded from tonight's senatorial debate. Scott, who also appears on the ballot against Republican Larry Hogan and Democrat Angela Alsobrooks, did not meet the criteria to qualify for the debate. Now, Scott remains adamant, though, that despite, quote, relentless media blackout, he is not going to stop reaching out to voters.
I mean, it's the same with the gerrymandering, the media blackout. All of it is designed to take choice away from the voters, and it's designed to let politicians choose voters instead of voters choosing politicians, and that's less choice for voters, and that's always bad. Their game is divide and conquer, and it always has been. That's why nothing gets solved. They don't even allow people to speak. Nothing gets solved. Immigration's still a problem. Social Security's still a problem. Debt, inflation, and it's because of their policies. I have the connections, I have the know-how, and I understand how government works. They are better politicians than me. DC doesn't need more politicians.
Well, it's a big election year for residents across the state and in Prince George's, with some major seats to fill.
That's right. CTV's Byron Scott joins us with our 2024 ballot breakdown. Byron?
Well, the 2024 elections are just weeks away. Voters will go to the polls to select the president, U.S. Senator, and members of the U.S. House. In Prince George's, voters will elect members of the County School Board of Education and fill a vacancy on County Council. For the Board of Education, 5 of 9 seats are up in Districts 1, 4, 5, 7, and in District 8. On County Council for the at-large seat, Democrat Jolene Ivey faces Republican Michael Riker. They are vying for the seat vacated by Mel Franklin. And on the ballot, question 1, a constitutional amendment enshrining a right to abortion in Maryland. Now, there are also 6 bond measures. Each would allow the county to borrow money and issue bonds for various county projects. Now, of course, the big talker in Maryland is the race for a Senate seat. Angela Alsobrooks faces Republican Larry Hogan. Both are scheduled to debate tonight. Now, the race for the Maryland's 4th Congressional District, incumbent Glenn Ivey faces Republican George McDermott. But of course, the big race is the race for the White House, with Kamala Harris in a tight race with Donald Trump. Election Day is November 5th.
Thanks, Byron. And if you want to beat the crowds, early voting begins October 24th through October 31st, including Saturday and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Please check the website on the screen for early voting centers first, because they might not be your regular voting site.
And you have until October 29th to request a mail-in ballot from the State Board of Elections if you want to receive a ballot by mail or fax. And as Byron just said, Election Day is November 5th. Polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Residents must vote at their assigned polling place on Election Day. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court appears to be getting closer to upholding the Biden administration's regulation of ghost guns. The case in front of the High Court deals with whether the government's policy on ghost guns is legal. The 2022 policy would require ghost guns to be under federal rules and regulated like other firearms. Ghost guns are weapons that can be assembled at home, are untraceable, and mostly does not have a serial number on it. CTV News spoke with Senator Chris Van Hollen, who's in support of Biden's ghost guns policy.
Ghost guns are designed to prevent law enforcement from tracing down weapons that are used in a crime. That's why they're called ghost guns, so nobody can find them or see them. So we need to make sure that we are able to trace guns used in crimes, and so that's why I support the Biden administration regulation that allows us to do that better.
Meantime, the High Court allows Anne Arundel County's gun safety law to stand, which requires gun stores to provide literature on suicide prevention and conflict resolution to buyers. And Hospice of the Chesapeake is looking for military personnel, both active duty and veterans, to perform honor salutes to veteran patients at their facilities. Over 25% of patients at Hospice of the Chesapeake are veterans, leading to the increased needs at the facility. Now, these ceremonies are usually held at the homes of dying veterans with their families in attendance, leaving lasting impacts on not just the veterans, but their families who have seen their loved ones sacrifice for their country.
And some good news for Social Security recipients next year. Benefits will be increasing as part of a cost of living adjustment. According to the Social Security Administration, Social Security benefits and supplemental security income payments will increase by 2.5% in 2025. This means on average, benefits will go up about $50 per month. Officials say this change will impact more than 72 million Americans. And you're watching CTV News. I'm Mariah Jalad.
And I'm Michaela Newton. Coming up, the city of Greenbelt has penned a letter to the Prince George's County Fire Chief.
Find out what they're asking for and why after the break.
If alcohol builds a wall around you, that doesn't let you see where you're going, that keeps you feeling isolated and alone, that makes you feel hopeless, know this: we're here to help if you want us to. It's never too early or too late to ask for help with a drinking problem. Alcoholics Anonymous. There is a way out. For more information, visit aa.org and download the Meeting Guide app.
Welcome back. The mayor and city council of Greenbelt have penned a letter to the Prince George's County Fire Chief. They're asking Tiffany Green to reinstate Greenbelt's career firefighters. Now, this has been an ongoing controversy in the city. City leaders say emergency response times may have exceeded industry standards. In one case, they say it took 23 minutes to respond to a non-priority incident at a senior housing complex.
The shortage of firefighters. I understand we're still about 251 firefighters short in Prince George's County. So this is an ongoing problem. It got worse during COVID. But, it's a new day, so we need to work together on finding better ways to recruit and retain our firefighters and to create more incentives. So, and it shouldn't just be a one-way conversation. It needs to be for us all to be sitting at the table, municipalities, the county, the career firefighters, the volunteer firefighters, just good communication, good coordination. So that's what we're asking for from Chief Green.
And Jordan says they hope to get a response soon from Chief Green.
And Prince George's County lawmakers have approved a tax break for a rare affordable housing project in New Carrollton. The developer Urban Atlantic says without this tax break, the housing program would not exist. The council unanimously approved the agreement that would provide financial support for the project. The 4-building complex will be built in phases and will have more than 300 units. 50 of those units will be reserved for tenants earning 30 or 50% of the average median income.
And Maryland Attorney General Anthony Brown has announced that a $52 million settlement has been reached with international hotel chain Marriott. Brown, along with 49 other attorney generals, reached a settlement in relation to a breach of one of Marriott's guest reservation databases. Maryland will receive over $2.2 million of the settlement, and Marriott has agreed to strengthen its data security practices and provide certain customer protections.
Well, Governor Wes Moore says to make Maryland more competitive, we need to uplift our entrepreneurs, as he announced $2.2 million in financial support to grow small, minority, and veteran-owned businesses. The program includes loans, loan guarantees, and equity investments in hopes to create 36 new jobs and retain more than 100 workers in the state of Maryland. The program includes the military personnel and veteran-owned small business loan program that provides no-interest loans up to $100,000.
Meanwhile, Prince George's County is considering tying minimum wage to inflation. The bill drafted by Councilmember Tom Derniga has been backing off of a majority of the council and has already passed the committee vote earlier this week. Now, Derniga aims to put pressure on lawmakers statewide to do the same, pushing the minimum wage up another 45 cents, up from $15. There has been some pushback from business owners who say doing this will increase expenses and risk losing business. Now, if passed, the bill would guarantee automatic wage increases in the future.
October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and Prince George's County State's Attorney Aisha Braveboy will be hosting her 5th annual Purple Bike Ride this Saturday at Allen Pond Park. The event features a 30, 10, and 3-mile ride. There will also be vendors, resource tables, and food trucks.
There is a 30-mile ride for the advanced riders. There's a 10-mile ride for the intermediate riders, and then there's a 3-mile family ride. Now, I think I'll be on the family ride this year, but it's a 3-mile ride, and we're just asking people to come out, support, show up for our victims and survivors. Let everyone know that Prince George's County, we ride with our people, right? We ride with our people, and we're going to be there for them as they go through the most challenging part of their life.
Such a great message. The bike ride kicks off at 8 a.m. You can register to participate by going to bikereg.com or pgsao.org/event. And the start of football season has meant big business for sports betting in the state of Maryland. In September alone, sports betting generated more than $9 million in revenue for the state. This is the highest one-month total since the first sportsbook opened in the state back in December 2021. Since then, sports betting has contributed nearly $110 million to the Blueprint for Maryland's Future Fund and more than $3 million to the Problem Gambling Fund.
And Amazon announced today that this year's Prime Big Deals Days was its biggest October shopping event ever. Globally, Prime members saved more than $1 billion across millions of deals, including seasonal merchandise and gifts. Across the retailer's wide selection, some of the most popular items purchased were from Dyson, Mattel, and Apple. Doug Harrington, CEO of Worldwide Amazon Stores, said, quote, "This is just the start of great deals from Amazon over the holiday season." And still to come on CTV News, we're joined by author and women's empowerment expert, Dr. Avis Jones DeWeaver.
We'll learn how she uses her knowledge to propel women in the DMV and beyond. We'll be right back.
Vision loss is not something that you feel until it happens.
Most people lose their vision from diseases like macular degeneration and glaucoma, not at birth.
With macular degeneration, you lose your central vision.
You have a blind spot right in the center of your face, so I can't actually see your face.
So even that little circle in which I could see became a big blur.
I was 65 when I first was diagnosed with glaucoma.
There were no symptoms. I had no headaches.
3 million Americans have glaucoma, and half don't even know it.
11 million people in the United States have macular degeneration.
You lose mobility, independence, changes your entire life.
So many eye disorders can be treated if caught early.
My husband tells me that I have beautiful brown eyes, and I don't want to lose that.
Make a plan today to get your eyes checked.
Visit brightfocus.org to learn more.
Diversity is in our nature. It is in nature, too. Biodiversity. It connects us and sustains us. But nature's biodiversity is at risk more than ever before, and the future of all life is in our hands. So what will you do? Love it or lose it?
It is so hot out today, but I'm about to get this hike in, and I just had to show you the view. Beautiful.
Yo, you should come out here. We came outside to unwind.
Oh, wow.
What's the laptop? Transmission.
We outside, come find us.
Well, it's 2024 and women are still significantly underrepresented in fields like finance, energy, and politics. According to a recent study by Holon IQ, women globally dominate the teaching and healthcare professions, but in both sectors, their representation declines as seniority levels rise.
But in just 25 days, history could be made in the U.S. when voters have the opportunity to elect their first woman president. And joining us in the studio today to talk about her book, How Exceptional Black Women Lead, is author and women's empowerment expert, Dr. Avis Jones DeWeaver. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Now, data shows that Black women are one of the most educated groups in the country in terms of earning degrees, but there still is that disparity when it comes to just climbing the corporate ladder and higher in corporate America. So what are your thoughts about that, and why did you decide to write this book?
Sure. So you're exactly right. Black women do lead the nation in terms of educational attainment, but when it comes to advancement in the workplace, they oftentimes are left behind. And it's very interesting because if you look at surveys around this, Black women tend to register as being the most ambitious demographic group. They're more likely than any others to want that promotion, but they're among the least to get it. And one of the things that happens is that they find a hard time to find a mentor, to get sponsors, to actually have the ability to get credit oftentimes for the contributions that they make in the workplace and the ideas that they present. And so they find themselves in a very isolated position instead of being able to lift up with others as they are traversing their career journeys.
Mm-hmm. Now, even when Black women do find themselves in those leadership roles, they can be labeled as bossy, mean. Do you think that stigma has changed at all?
You know what? I don't think so, unfortunately. It's very interesting that you started this segment talking about Vice President Harris, because I see a lot of echoing of a Black woman's journey in their careers with how her career is being perceived. This particular campaign is being perceived oftentimes. You know, she can't be seen as angry about something. She has to be able to be really hold back, I think, in her emotions. If she's too emotional, she'll be someone will say that, oh, she's not strong enough to be president. If she's too stern, she's too bossy. And I think that's true for a lot of women, but for Black women, there's this special stereotype of the angry Black women that oftentimes makes us feel as if we need to keep our emotions in check, even though we're human beings like everyone else, and as such, we should have the ability to show the range of emotions.
And now Vice President Kamala Harris could make history if she wins this election. So what do you think that would mean for Black women leaders across the nation?
You know, I think that would really be an amazing feat, because I do believe one of the things that we are all seeing is the degree to which this candidacy is already historic. The amount of money raised, how quickly she really came out of the gate and really took the party in a completely different direction, all the excitement that she generated. And I think oftentimes people were surprised at how good she was. But I think it's beautiful about that, though, is that for a lot of Black women, we're saying we knew. Okay, we knew, because that is our story, that we oftentimes overperform if only we're given the opportunity. So I'm hoping that with her ability to continue to shine, that it's going to break open some doors so that other Black women in other fields will get the opportunity that they are ready, willing, and able to fulfill.
And it will definitely be a historic moment. But do you think the country is ready to have a woman president?
It better be. Because if I had to predict, I think it's going to.
Yeah, absolutely. So talk a little bit more about your book. What can we expect in the book? Where can we find it?
Absolutely. So you can find the book on Amazon. And basically, the book is a tale of how to be able to balance the competing challenges of being both a woman and specifically a Black woman in the workplace. And I talk about corporate America, but I also talk about the nonprofit challenges. I often talk about being able to forge your own path as an entrepreneur, and more even in politics. I talk about all of these things and how Black women's journeys are a little bit different than men's and a little bit different from women of other racial backgrounds. I think we have a very unique journey in this nation, but I think that we're ready for the task to succeed.
And for any young Black women watching that are aspiring to those leadership roles, do you have any words of advice for them?
Absolutely. Keep going. I mean, the bottom line is you will be doubted. So what? People will challenge you. Keep going. You know, the point is, when you believe in you, that is the very first thing that has to happen, because confidence is transferable. So if you don't believe in you, no one else will. But when you believe in yourself, eventually keep putting in the work and you will get the results.
Amazing quote. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. It's great. For more information on Dr. Avis or the Exceptional Leadership Institute, follow her on Instagram at @TheRealDrAvis.
And don't move after the break. Simon Buggs is here with our Thursday sports page.
That's right, and he's got some volleyball highlights when we return. Back in a moment.
More than 6 million kids in the U.S. have ADHD. Many aren't getting the support they need. At understood.org, we can help. Sometimes in class, the only thing your child can focus on are the thoughts racing through their head.
Why can't I just pay attention? Why am I always falling behind? Why do I feel so alone? So different.
Your child is looking to you for answers, to help them make sense of it all. But as a parent, you probably have a lot of questions too. What should I do next? Where do I even start? At understood.org, we provide parents with the resources they need to help kids with ADHD thrive. Your child wants to thrive. Be the reason they do.
The drug scene in Maryland is changing. Fentanyl and xylazine are being added to street drugs, and you may not even know it. Xylazine is not even intended for humans, and fentanyl is an opioid 50 times stronger than heroin and contributed to over 80% of overdose deaths in our state. Anyone who uses drugs, even occasionally, is at risk of overdose. To learn more, visit stopoverdose.maryland.gov or call or text 988.
Okay, everyone, it's time for your Thursday sports page. And you're going to like this first story, volleyball fans, as I have some great highlights from some local high schools. It was an entertaining matchup last night as Williamsburg High School volleyball squad was at the crib as they hosted Parkdale. In the first set, Blade was serving up something serious as these two aces by Messi Negas and another one from Favor Okeke helped the Lady Bulldogs jump out to a small single-digit lead. But as the set went on, the Lady Mustangs began to pull away as more points from Chelsea Nwafor and Okeke again helped boost the lead to as much as 8. But eventually, the Lady Panthers were able to mount a bit of a comeback as this spike from Yassine Kouyaté and this nice hit on the ball from Vivian Gonzalez to get it back over the net helped Parkdale only be down 19-16. But the Lady Mustangs were still able to keep their lead and won the first set 25-20. Now in the second set, Parkdale did fall behind quickly, but this spike from Nefertari Guzman helped her team take the lead at 3-2. And the Lady Panthers, kept their foot on the gas as they remained out in front and won the second set 25-10. And Parkdale won the next two sets and took down the Lady Mustangs overall 3-1. Blade will take the court next against Eleanor Roosevelt on Monday, while Parkdale's next opponent will be Wise on Monday as well. And there was more volleyball action around the county as Bowie swept Duval 3-0, crossing into the losing streak as they beat Friendly 3-0, and finally Frederick Douglass came away victorious against Central 3-0 as well. Meantime, it's going to be an exciting quarterback battle this weekend as two Heisman Trophy winners in Jaden Daniels and Lamar Jackson will take the field against one another. A reason fans are looking forward to this game is because of similarities between the two, as both are great dual-threat QBs. Daniels is aware of the comparison to the two-time MVP, and he gave his thoughts on it.
Growing up, high school, you get comparisons for college, and then college you get kind of within the draft comparisons of who this is, kind of the skill set is like. But I'll say for me, it's kind of just go out there and trying to be unique and trying to be not really different from everybody and appreciate what they could do, because you always learn stuff from other quarterbacks within the league. I'm not closed-minded. I always want to be able to grow, but at the end of the day, I want to be known as Jaden Daniels and not the next such and such.
Kickoff is on Sunday at 1 o'clock. I can't wait. And wrapping up sports, be on the lookout, WNBA fans, as the finals begin tonight. The Minnesota Lynx and New York Liberty will take the court for Game 1 at 8 o'clock. And that is your Thursday sports page.
So Jaden Daniels, Lamar Jackson, they have that Heisman Trophy in common. Do you think that the comparisons are justified?
I think they are, guys, because for one, they're both very shifty. They both have amazing escapability when they're running with the ball, and also they both have great arm talent. They both throw great deep balls. Hopefully, Jaden Daniels can follow Lamar Jackson in the same trajectory as far as winning MVPs for the Commanders. Yeah. But yeah, these two guys, they're both very talented. It should be a very interesting matchup on Sunday. I'm looking forward to it.
Who do you think is going to come out on top?
Oh man, it's going to be a tough one. I'm going to ride with the Commanders. They're riding high right now. I think they can give that Baltimore defense some problems with the way the offense has been playing. I'm going to say the Commanders are going to come out on top on Sunday.
All right, I'm going to be watching. Let's see. Now let's get a look at our 3-day weather forecast. The cooler temperatures are sticking around with clear conditions all day. Tomorrow it's going to be nice and sunny with a high of 68.
Saturday, that sunshine is sticking around. We'll have a high of 76 and a low of 55. Sunday will be mostly sunny, but expect more clouds. It's going to be 76 degrees.
And for our community calendar, this Sunday, the Forest Heights Police Department is hosting an adults versus teens basketball game.
Yeah, this exciting event brings together adults and teens for a fun, competitive game and bridge the generational gap. The event takes place at the Glass Manor Community Center from 1 to 3 p.m., but for more information, contact 301-839-4040.
Okay, that brings us to the end of CTV News for now. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much. We'll see you tomorrow.
Good night, everybody.